Hi, my name is Mickayla Fatovic, and I am the broker owner of Elite Class Property Management and Real Estate Company. Today we have an amazing special guest who came all the way down from New York to host multiple events and be here today with us. So I would like to introduce you to a very well-known man, Bob Knakal.
Hey, Mickayla, so nice to be with you today.
Hi, how are you?
Beautiful Miami. It's great down here.
I am starstruck. I'm sorry. It's very cool to be with someone that is of like your magnitude. You're kind of like the OG of real estate, as I say. So I just wanted to start off with some questions because, I mean, your brain is the one I want to pick. So the first one that I have is, if you knew today what you know now, would you go back and tell yourself anything?
From the early days, well, the world has changed so much that the answer is yes, I would do that, but in some ways, no. And I'll frame that by saying, I think you've always had to be an expert at something in real estate. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people trying to do what we do every day.
Oh, yeah.
You need to differentiate yourself. The best way to differentiate is through specialization. Back in the 1980s when I started, the amount and quality of publicly available information was very poor. So we set up our whole business based on a geographical orientation towards the business. We wanted to have a senior broker in every neighborhood, get to know everything about that neighborhood, what buildings were selling, how much they were selling for, who were the buyers, who were the sellers, what zoning changes affected value, what new developments were impacting what was happening. And that knowledge in the local neighborhood was a differentiator, and that differentiator was a competitive advantage. Today, there is so much information available. You can go online and find out somebody's home address, their cell number, their shoe size, whatever you want to know.
We have an app for that
about them. That's right. That's right. So I think today, product specialization is much more important. And the reason why it's so important, Mickayla, is that as a broker, you have two main assets, your knowledge and your time. We're always trying to increase our knowledge base, become smarter, learn things, understand things better. But you can't make any more time, so we have to use our time as effectively as possible. So to the extent that you're focused on one particular type of transaction, one product type, one something, and that's all you're doing, then everything you do all day is accretive towards getting the next piece of business. Where if you're a generalist, like I've been my whole career, you're doing a variety of things, and the next client is only interested in potentially some of what you did, not all of what you did. So it's a way to make your working hours have more horsepower. So if I could go back in time and tell myself something, I'd say, the basic things. Look, be an expert, work hard, have passion for what you do, be disciplined about it. I love that quote from Abraham Lincoln, who said that discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. And if you keep your big objectives in mind and everything you're doing is towards, hey, what do I want most? Because a lot of what we do in the brokerage business is not glamorous.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Make your calls, we use the football analogy that our business is a lot of blocking and tackling, simple, basic, fundamental stuff. But you have to do it over and over and over again. And, I always say day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And so to have that discipline to do it, those are the things I would go back and tell myself. Work hard, have discipline, surround yourself with smart people. And just, I think luck is an important ingredient in what we do also. But I also believe the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
So work hard and good things will happen for you.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very good answer. So, okay. What is something that you felt like you did and was like something that is just the most memorable thing that you have?
Oh, wow. I've never been asked that question. I think, the most memorable things, I think, revolve around pitching business. Yeah. Going into to get business, being prepared. And I just remember, always want to make sure that, as silly as it sounds, brush your teeth before you go to the meeting, get your shoes shined, be prepared, understand, anticipate questions you're going to get. And I think the most memorable moments I have in the business are twofold. One is when you're in that pitch and you know you did a good job, and the client tells you, "Hey, I'm going with you." That's a great, very memorable.
A good feeling.
And then, you know, it doesn't happen so much anymore because so much of what we do relative to getting contracts signed is done by email and digitally. You know, it's very important in New York because typically when a contract is signed, the deposit is hard, and you know there's a 99% chance that deal's going to close. But getting the contract signed in the old days, I remember we would sometimes, you know, stay at the attorney's office till 10 at night, 11 o'clock. We did one closing. I remember walking home at 1 in the morning from a contract signing. But those are wonderful memories of.
Did you look up just to the sky and be like,
absolutely?
Yes.
The city was quiet, not a lot of people around. Fortunately, that contract signing was only a few blocks from where I lived, so I was able to walk home. But just it was a great feeling. So I think those are the times that are the most vivid memories for me.
That's beautiful. I like those ones. So, okay, you work in multifamily. I work in multifamily. Are you licensed only in New York, or do you have multiple licenses?
Just licensed in New York, and every property I've sold, nice. Well, not every, the overwhelming majority of properties I've sold are in New York. For the last 20 years, everything I've done has been in New York. In the early years, when Paul and I were at CB, we sold some buildings outside New York, but New York related. We represented the Cromwell Group, which did a leverage buyout of Kinney Parking. And Kinney had, most of their properties were in New York, but they had some stuff in Boston, Philly, Louisville, Kentucky. So we sold properties in those areas to help retire the short-term debt on that leverage buyout. But overwhelmingly, 98%, 99% of my work is just in New York City.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. I'm actually from Jersey.
No, whereabouts?
Over there in Jersey City. I don't know if you heard, the first brokerage that I ever worked with was Boulevard Real Estate. It was like a little indie brokerage. But yeah, no, I learned what I know and what I needed to know, like in the sense of competition from being in those city lives, because the city itself, like Florida, is very competitive, right? But the cities, like the metros, they have so much saturation, you have so much competition, and it's just so hard, especially right now with all of the current crises that we have, right? So another thing I wanted to pick your brain about is, what is your thought about like investing in some form of affordable housing? Do you think that investors should avoid or think about doing?
No, I think affordable housing is one of the sectors of the multifamily market that is still very, very robust. And from an investment perspective, it's great because your rent is effectively guaranteed. There, in New York, there are a variety of programs that you can participate in, but your certainty of getting paid your rent is very, very high in these programs. So there are a number of investors that are very, very active in that space and always looking for properties that have some type of program associated with them. But that's a great business.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, how was your trip?
Trip has been great. I mean, I get to Miami maybe 2-3 times a year, and it's beautiful down here. Yesterday it was about 85 and sunny. I was doing emails all afternoon by the pool, which was fantastic. So I got my emails done and got to enjoy the nice weather. Didn't feel like I was working, so it was great.
Yeah, it's cold up there. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, no, New York has been cold. We even had a little snow for the first time in a couple of years, a couple of weeks ago. So, a little chilly. Very beautiful down here.
Yeah, Florida is the place to be. I love New York. I love New Jersey, but Florida just has my heart. Something about it. And I think the guy behind the camera can agree. All right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, guys. And if you haven't spoke to Mr. Knakal, please reach out to him. He is an amazing resource. He loves providing education. He is very reliable, and he's a hard worker. I mean, if you don't believe me, just go look at his stats. His stats are killer. I saw his stats, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be like you when I grow up. And I'm an adult, so yeah.
Well, you take it one day at a time, and after 40 years, they add up. So
that's That's the point, right? It's being patient with yourself and not giving up when you have those days where you do. I can't tell you how many times I almost didn't go into a meeting or didn't go do something, but me not giving up on me is what got me here today. And I think if Mr. Knakal, somebody who is probably my star in real estate, you know, if he's saying that, I think it's the truth. Right.
Yep, it's one of the great things about commercial real estate brokerage. It is just about the purest form of meritocracy you can have, and you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
And if you do all the right things and you learn and you put yourself in a position to take advantage of opportunities, this is such a great business.
Yeah.
And you know, if anybody would like to email me, you could always email me at bob.knakal@jll.com. and be happy to interact with you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, and enjoy your shows, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Maybe.
Thanks, Mickayla. It's been a pleasure to be with you today.
Awesome.